Behind the polished silver and elegant dinners of Eaton Place, there were secrets no guest ever saw. From hidden scandals to production mishaps, here are 15 things about upstairs, downstairs that even the Bellamys wouldn't dare whisper about. Fact 1.
9 years isn't very long for a reign.
Quite a decade.
I wonder what the next 10 years will be like.
Before it became upstairs, downstairs, the show was almost called Behind the Green Baize Door, a title inspired by the heavy door separating servants from their masters in Edwardian homes. It was a powerful metaphor for class and control, symbolising the invisible wall that divided two worlds living under one roof. But ITV executives thought the title sounded too strange and too subtle for television audiences. They wanted something that instantly captured the show's dual perspective: elegant life above, relentless labour below. After countless brainstorming sessions, John Marsh and Eileen Atkins struck gold with Upstairs, Downstairs. The phrase was simple, rhythmic, and instantly understandable to anyone who'd ever lived in Britain. It described not just architecture, but hierarchy itself. When the pilot finally aired, audiences instantly grasped what the show was about. The name became so iconic that it turned into a cultural expression. Even critics admitted that the new title gave the series a timeless charm. Still, that green baize door lingered as a quiet symbol throughout the show. It represented the tension between visibility and silence, between being served and being seen. And in a poetic twist, the title that was rejected became the invisible backbone of the story. The door everyone kept crossing but never quite opened.
The rich man in his castle, the poor man at his gate.
Fact 2.
You'll probably get a letter from Edward soon. You'll be getting one from Gregory. I dreamt about him last night.
Jean Marsh and Eileen Atkins didn't just write about servant life, they understood it. Both actresses came from modest London families, and their mothers and grandmothers had once worked in domestic service.
I come from a very ordinary working class background. My father was really a glorified labourer and my mother was a barmaid.
Growing up, they'd heard endless stories of long hours, impossible employers, and tiny moments of pride beneath the weight of class. Those memories shaped their vision for the series. When they pitched Upstairs, Downstairs, television producers dismissed it as a show about people no one cared about. But Marsh and Atkins refused to give up, determined to show that the servants' world was every bit as dramatic as the masters'. They wanted to expose the emotional and social tension between upstairs luxury and downstairs labour. Atkins originally planned to act alongside Marsh, but was pulled away by theatre commitments, though her influence remained woven into the writing. The emotional depth of the servants came straight from real stories and family recollections. Marsh even said her character Rose was inspired by her grandmother's own years in service. Their authenticity gave the show an honesty rare in period drama. It wasn't romanticised, it was raw, real and deeply human. And that truth is what made audiences on both sides of the class divide see themselves in every episode.
If she was, we'd all know about it, leastways I would, because she'd have told me. It's malicious lies.
And what is malicious lies, Rose?
Fact 3.
I'm the house parlour maid. I am the house parlour maid. Well, come in.
The first episode of Upstairs, Downstairs nearly didn't make it to broadcast. When ITV executives saw the pilot, they were sceptical that audiences would care about servants at all. They believed the British public preferred grand stories of royalty and romance, not maids polishing silver. The tone felt too realistic, too quiet, and too focused on ordinary lives. But the producers believed in it. They saw something revolutionary in the blend of upstairs elegance and downstairs endurance. After weeks of hesitation, ITV reluctantly agreed to air it as a late-night test. The reaction was electric. Viewers wrote letters begging for more, praising the honesty and emotional power of the storytelling. Critics quickly realised that the series had tapped into something profound, a nation still obsessed with class, yet yearning to understand it. What began as a risk became a rating sensation. The show's unexpected success reshaped how British television viewed domestic drama. It proved that stories of service, loyalty and sacrifice were universal. And ironically, the episode ITV almost buried became the foundation of one of Britain's greatest television legacies.
Oh, now why can't Lady Marjorie get someone like that for us?
Because you've got adorable little me, that's why.
Oh, and would you look at those feathers?
Fact 4.
Could you manage a cigarette?
Before the world met the Bellamys, the fictional family was called the Balmorals, a name that didn't last long. The writers thought it sounded regal, refined, and quintessentially British, but as scripts circulated, someone pointed out the problem. Balmoral was also the name of the royal family's Scottish estate. That connection was risky, even potentially scandalous. ITV feared comparisons or backlash from Buckingham Palace, so the name was quickly changed to Bellamy. It had the same refined tone but carried no political baggage. The choice turned out to be perfect, elegant but believable, upper class without feeling cartoonish. Interestingly, the writers used the surname's meaning handsome friend, a subtle inspiration for the family's charm and public image. The Bellamys were flawed yet charismatic, respected yet fragile, much like the society they represented. This change also freed the writers to explore class themes without royal interference. Behind the scenes, some of the crew joked that the Bellamys felt more real than the Windsors. It's a reminder that even the smallest creative decision, a family name, can shape an entire fictional world. And sometimes, a single word can shift a story from imitation to timeless originality.
All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again.
Fact 5.
On the seat of a bicycle made for two. Very good, Dan. Very good. No, lovely that was.
Upstairs, Downstairs was never meant to run for years. Its original order was only 13 episodes. The network assumed it would be a polite, modest period drama that came and went quietly. But by the time the final episode aired, viewers were completely hooked. Letters flooded ITV's offices demanding more. The network was stunned by the response and reluctantly agreed to extend the series. This was long before online petitions or social media campaigns. It was pure word of mouth. Housewives, students, and even politicians admitted they planned their Sunday nights around the show. Fans connected deeply with both the upstairs and downstairs characters, seeing reflections of their own lives in the contrast. Ratings soared far beyond expectations, turning the series into an instant cultural phenomenon. Producers scrambled to write new scripts and expand the world of 165 Eaton Place. The success even influenced the rise of later shows like Downton Abbey. The people had spoken, and television history was rewritten because of them. What started as a small experiment became a national obsession, and thanks to its passionate audience, Upstairs, Downstairs didn't just survive, it became immortal.
I'm gonna go and change my
You're
dress.
going up to bed. This instant, my girl.
Oh, Mrs.
You go. You see.
Fact 6.
I also expect you to observe my rules, one of which is that I will not have the servants in this house locking their bedroom doors. I thought I'd made that quite clear.
One of the most ingenious production tricks on Upstairs, Downstairs was the design of the downstairs set. The ceilings were built just a few inches lower than standard height, forcing the actors to move slightly hunched or careful. This subtle choice visually reinforced the idea that the servants' world was cramped, controlled, and confined. Every time the camera followed a maid through those narrow corridors, you could feel the pressure closing in. Meanwhile, the upstairs rooms were spacious, bright, and airy, a deliberate visual contrast. The difference between freedom and servitude wasn't just written, it was built. Viewers might not consciously notice, but the tension was always there, baked into the walls. Even the lighting helped. Warm golden hues upstairs, cold greys and blues below. Production designer Julia Trevelyan-Oman was meticulous about these visual cues. She believed the environment should tell as much story as the script. The result was a world that felt real, lived in, and emotionally claustrophobic. Critics praised the authenticity of the atmosphere without realizing how intentionally it was crafted. That attention to physical space helped Upstairs, Downstairs feel less like a set and more like history itself unfolding in real time.
Excuse me, Miss Elizabeth, there's a foreign gentleman in the servants' hall. He doesn't seem quite himself. He's asking for more whiskey.
Oh, Lord.
Fact 7.
Off on our day out without saying a word to anybody. Doesn't get herself a job in a munition factory down by the river.
Angela Baddeley, who played the formidable Mrs. Bridges, insisted on absolute authenticity. Whenever a scene required her to cook, she often used real Victorian recipes from her grandmother's collection. Instead of fake steam and empty pans, she filled the kitchen with the aroma of roast meats and puddings. The crew adored filming her scenes because the smell alone was unforgettable. Baddeley believed that realism wasn't just visual, it was sensory. Every time she stirred a pot or rolled dough, it connected her to the women who actually worked in those kitchens a century earlier. Her performance carried both pride and exhaustion, reflecting the quiet dignity of real domestic cooks. The props team once joked that she took her role so seriously they should start charging for lunch. Even the actors upstairs would sneak into the kitchen set between takes to steal bites. The authenticity of those scenes grounded the series in a tangible reality. Viewers could almost smell the food through the screen. Baddeley's dedication made Mrs. Bridges one of television's most beloved characters. She wasn't just acting, she was channeling history through her hands.
But I've made fillets de veau Talleyrand the master's favourite. I made it specially to tempt his appetite.
Fact 8.
It was bigger than that yesterday. 5 slices I cut. Somebody's been in my larder.
While some meals were real, most of the grand upstairs banquets were pure illusion. The production budget couldn't sustain elaborate feasts week after week, so prop designers got creative. They made roasts from painted foam, puddings from rubber molds, and fruit glazed with varnish to gleam under studio lights. To the camera, it looked magnificent. Up close, it smelled like paint. Actors often laughed between takes about pretending to enjoy a slice of varnished turkey. Lighting was key. The shine of fake gravy and glimmer of artificial wine helped sell the illusion. One episode required so much food that the art department borrowed props from a commercial shoot next door, but the deception worked perfectly. Audiences believed every decadent dinner was a sign of upper-class wealth. The contrast between the fake opulence upstairs and the real sweat downstairs became almost poetic. In truth, the actors downstairs were often eating better than those pretending to dine upstairs. That blend of illusion and irony captured the spirit of upstairs, downstairs itself, beautiful, deceptive, and always hiding something beneath the surface.
You've been at my cake, haven't you?
No, I haven't.
You have. Well?
Oh, now you mention it, last night I was feeling a bit peckish.
Fact 9.
That's our engagement ring, in case you don't remember. I could sue you for breach of promise.
Oh, no, Rose, I don't think you could do that.
Oh, yes, I could.
Unlike many shows filmed entirely in studios, Upstairs Downstairs used a real London townhouse for its exterior shots. The famous 165 Eaton Place was, in fact, a real address in Belgravia, though the interior was recreated at LWT Studios. The crew had to coordinate filming around the actual residents of the area, who sometimes peeked out windows during shoots. Whenever a bus or taxi rumbled past, the takes had to be stopped and restarted. Despite the chaos, the authenticity added a sense of grandeur money couldn't buy. The real building's Georgian facade became instantly recognizable to millions of viewers. Fans would travel from all over the world just to see it in person. The production team even had to polish the railings and repaint the door before each season to keep it looking perfect. Local residents grew so fond of the filming that they'd bring tea to the crew during long days. That townhouse became a silent character in the story, timeless, elegant, and unchanging amid all the drama. Even decades later, tourists still seek out that iconic black door. It's proof that sometimes location itself becomes part of television legend.
King of the Belgians has appealed to His Majesty King George V for help.
Fact 10.
If it's of any interest, I intend to hold a masked ball during the season in aid of our worthy cause.
Creating authentic Edwardian fashion wasn't cheap, and the show's modest budget demanded clever solutions. Many of the servant uniforms and gowns were recycled from the Forsyte Saga, another ITV period drama. Costume designers worked tirelessly to retailor and refit the garments for new actors. Some dresses were dyed or turned inside out to disguise their origins. The result was stunning. Rich textures, believable wear, and historical detail on a shoestring budget. Upstairs gowns gleamed with elegance, while downstairs uniforms carried visible signs of hard work. That contrast felt intentional, but it was partly financial necessity. Actors joked that their costumes had lived previous lives, just like their characters. Viewers, meanwhile, praised the show's attention to period detail without realizing how resourceful the team had been. Each outfit became part of the illusion that this world truly existed. The clothing helped define the social boundaries in every scene, from stiff collars to silken sleeves. And in the end, those recycled costumes proved that creativity, not money, builds the most believable worlds.
Perilous seas in fairy lands forlorn. It quite escapes me.
Keats, Ode to a Nightingale.
Of course.
Fact 11.
Forgive me, love, I must to her succour. I love thee not, loved I not honour more.
When Upstairs, Downstairs reached its peak, it wasn't just a British success, it became a worldwide obsession. The series was broadcast in over 50 countries from Japan to South Africa and translated into more than a dozen languages. In Japan, it developed an unexpectedly devoted fan base, with viewers fascinated by the formality and discipline of Edwardian service. In America, PBS aired it as part of Masterpiece Theatre, and it became one of the first British imports to shape American taste in period drama. The combination of manners, hierarchy, and human emotion transcended cultural boundaries. People everywhere saw something familiar in the balance between order and rebellion. Letters poured in from fans who said the show reminded them of their own families or class struggles. Even decades later, it continues to air in syndication, drawing new generations of viewers. The show's themes of power, love, and loyalty remain universal. Producer John Hawksworth once said he never expected the downstairs folk to win the world's heart. But they did, and they did it with quiet grace. By the time the final episode aired, Upstairs, Downstairs had become a global shorthand for class storytelling. It proved that a story about servants in one London house could speak to every corner of the human experience.
I'd rather go to Paris.
All right. Let's go.
What now?
Why not?
Fact 12.
Who is this?
It's Alfred, Mr. Edson. You remember Alfred? He used to work as footman.
One of the show's most powerful secrets lies in its research. The writers often drew directly from genuine Edwardian servants' diaries and letters. These real-life accounts revealed not just hard labour, but deep emotional lives. Friendships, rivalries, even forbidden romances below the stairs. The production team scoured archives and museums for first-hand stories. Some entries describe the silence expected in hallways or the dread of a master's bell ringing in the night. Others spoke of pride, the honour of polishing silver so bright it could blind you. These personal fragments shaped the emotional tone of the series. They gave each character a sense of lived history, a quiet truth that could never be faked. Writer Alfred Shaughnessy said he wanted viewers to feel the heartbeat of the forgotten. The result was a show that honoured the invisible workers who held society together. Each episode carried echoes of real names, real sweat, and real sacrifice. The humanity in those diaries became the soul of Upstairs, Downstairs, and through television, their stories finally stepped out of the shadows and into the light.
I'm so happy, Rose. I'm sorry I've shocked you, but I've never been so happy.
Fact 13.
From his wife and 6 children in Naples.
Oh, Sarah, you're dreadful.
Behind the scenes, the actors who played servants and masters formed a bond as tight as their on-screen family. Jean Marsh, David Langton, and Angela Baddeley often stayed on set long after filming, sharing meals and trading stories. The contrast between Upstairs and Downstairs disappeared once the cameras stopped rolling. Many of the cast had worked together in theatre and carried that camaraderie into production. The long shooting days, heavy costumes, and emotional scripts created a shared sense of endurance. They laughed through mistakes, comforted each other during emotional scenes, and built a rare kind of trust. When Baddeley passed away shortly after the final season, her co-stars described it as losing a real family member. That emotional authenticity bled into their performances. Every look, every silence felt genuine. Their chemistry became the heartbeat of the show, impossible to fake. Even decades later, cast reunions are filled with warmth and laughter rather than nostalgia. The friendships forged in those cramped studio hallways endured far beyond the screen. In a show about class division, the cast themselves lived the opposite: unity, respect, and affection across every level.
Well, I hope I never have to serve up another dinner like that. It's a shame to see it go out of the kitchen.
Fact 14.
Oh, yes, madam, I'll see if he's in. Hold the line one moment, if you please.
From furniture to etiquette, Upstairs, Downstairs aimed for an almost scholarly level of accuracy. Historical advisors were hired to ensure every gesture, phrase, and piece of decor fit the early 1900s. Actors were even taught how to bow, serve, and address nobility exactly as servants once did. Every prop, from silver spoons to servant bells, was authentic or a perfect replica. The attention to detail was so precise that some museums later used the set designs as references for their Edwardian exhibits. Angela Baddeley once joked that the napkins knew more about history than we did. Even mistakes became moments of learning. If a line sounded too modern, it was rewritten instantly. The cast found the experience transformative, as if they were living through time rather than acting it. The realism helped audiences forget they were watching fiction. Viewers felt as though they were peeking through a window into 1905 London. That devotion to authenticity made Upstairs, Downstairs feel timeless, not dated. It set the gold standard for every period drama that followed. And it reminded the world that the past isn't just costumes and manners, it's humanity, painstakingly remembered.
No smoking. Defense de fumée.
Fact 15.
Tell me. I've told you my secrets, now you tell me yours. Rose?
When Upstairs, Downstairs ended in 1975, few expected its influence to last. But decades later, its DNA could be found everywhere, most famously in Downton Abbey. Julian Fellowes, creator of Downton, openly credited Upstairs, Downstairs as his greatest inspiration. The structure, tone, and dual perspective of master and servant all stemmed from the original. Yet even beyond television, the series reshaped how Britain talked about class. It sparked academic studies, social debates, and renewed appreciation for domestic history. In 2010, the BBC attempted a revival with Jeanne Marsh returning as Rose, proof of the show's enduring charm. Although the reboot was short-lived, it reignited love for the original classic. Younger audiences discovered it through streaming, amazed by how modern it still felt. The show's fingerprints remain visible in every costume drama that followed. Its mix of intimacy, realism, and class commentary continues to define British storytelling. And perhaps the greatest legacy of all is this: Upstairs, Downstairs taught television that every life, no matter how humble, deserves to be seen.